This is part 2, episode 86. Hui Yuhao said to Bei Bei using his spiritual detection, "Eldest senior, I'm going to go out later." Bei Bei thought of something before he extended 2 fingers and tapped on Hui Yuhao's shoulder. Hui Yuhao nodded. The two of them had great chemistry with each other. "Yuhao, be careful. Don't push yourself too hard. Don't worry, eldest senior. I know my limits." Bei Bei sent Hui Yuhao back to his room before he returned to his own room to rest. After returning to their rooms, Wang Donga started to help Hui Yuhao put on makeup. He had an appointment today. The makeup was used to conceal his actual looks. Wang Donga pushed Hui Yuhao silently out of the hotel. They proceeded towards a dark and quiet corner and quickly ventured far away from the hotel. Hui Yuhao's ability to disguise and conceal himself was an important reason why Bei Bei was so confident earlier. If their opponent didn't know when they left, how could he deal with them? Wang Donga pushed Hui Yuhao far away, and they even went around in a circle before they proceeded towards their destination. After walking for an hour, they finally stopped at a dark and quiet corner. Hui Yuhao was drained today. Although he had rested for some time, and his soul and spiritual power had somewhat recovered, he was still feeling weak and exhausted from the tournament. It was best to remain cautious. Wang Donga squatted down beside Hui Yuhao and whispered, "He's here. Should I guide him over?" "Yes. I just used my spiritual detection to check. There's no one within a 500-meter radius of us." Hui Yuhao nodded his head. Wang Donga only stepped out silently after this. She didn't make a sound, and soon brought someone over from the other side of the road, Chenan. "Sir." Chenan rushed to greet Hui Yuhao when he saw him. After witnessing what had happened in the last round of the underground tournament, he became even more respectful towards Hui Yuhao. Hui Yuhao's abilities during that round were an eye-opener for him. He had revealed the true abilities of an evil soul master. Naturally, Chenan's efficiency also increased as a result. "How's the matter I asked you to see to?" Hui Yuhao asked. Chenan hurriedly answered, "It's almost done. This is the list." As he spoke, he passed a piece of paper to Hui Yuhao. Hui Yuhao furrowed his brow when he saw the list. "So little." Chenan laughed bitterly. "Sir, I've already done my best. Rare metals are in short supply now. The Duskwater Alliance has stocks, but the higher-ups treat them as treasures. They claim that the value of these rare metals will soar in the future, and they're prohibiting the sale of them now. I only managed to get this much because my friend is one of the higher-ups in charge of managing the warehouse. This must not leaked. Otherwise, I'll be dead." Hui Yuhao nodded and said, "All right, let's just get these first. Don't worry, I won't let you do all this for nothing. Hold this first." As he spoke, he passed a card to Chenan. "There are 550,000 gold soul credits here. Take it as the deposit. When you return, get the goods ready. When they arrive, I'll give you the remaining sum that I owe. When that time comes, your share will not be forgotten. I'll fulfill my promise to you." After receiving the card, Chenan didn't seem to be doubtful at all. Hui Yuhao's passing of the card to Chen represented a lot of things. "All right, sir. I have an idea. In a few days' time, our Radiant City Elite Soul Engineering Tournament's Grand Finals will be held on the second day after the Continental Elite Youth Soul Master Tournament's semifinals are over. When the Grand Final begins, you'll naturally be competing. All the higher-ups from the 3 underground organizations will also be gracing the event. This will also the point where the warehouse is emptiest. Let's meet then. I'll get someone to deliver the goods, and you'll send someone to verify the goods. The exchange can occur then when we are both not present. It'll also be the safest time and place for us. What do you think?" Hui Yuhao revealed a grin and said, "Not bad. Your idea is pretty reliable. Let's do it this way then. All right, you can return now. Take care. When the matter is settled, you can follow me in the future if you want to." "Yes, sir. Thanks for nurturing me. Let me complete this task first before we go on to other stuff." After greeting Hui Yuhao again, Chenan turned around and left. As he walked out of the dark corner, he glanced around him before quickly leaving. Hui Yuhao revealed a cold smile on his face as he watched Chenan leave. This fellow's heartbeat was getting faster and faster when he was speaking earlier. Evidently, he must be lying. I can't tell what he's lying about, but is pretty good to have obtained all these rare metals. Donga, protect me. Let me see if I can get more clues from him. If I do find out anything, second senior, and I might not even need to compete in the grand final. Right here. Won't it be too dangerous? Can your body take it? Wang Donga asked concernedly. Hui Yuhao replied, I'm fine. There are very few people who will pass by here. I'll continue my imitation to conceal our figures. You just need to be more alert. I have to start, he's getting farther away. Let's hope he doesn't go too far. As he spoke, Hui Yuhao shut his eyes. A streak of golden light shone from his forehead. As the golden light flashed, it disappeared into the air. Hui Yuhao then remained motionless like a statue. His spiritual power had entered the concrete material realm. In a fight, Hui Yuhao still couldn't fully fuse it with his soul power. However, he was much stronger at using his spiritual power now. A golden projection formed, consolidated from his spiritual power. It even carried a streak of his spirit. Although it couldn't do anything, it was able to cover much greater distances than his spiritual detection. It was also more agile. With Hui Yuhao's current spiritual power, he could cover up to 3 kilometers if he made his detection unidirectional. However, his spiritual avatar in the concrete material realm was able to cover 5 kilometers. He had never tested his limits, but his spiritual power was exhausted at a rate proportional to how far his avatar was from his body. Chenin walked very quickly. After turning 2 street corners, he finally slowed down and proceeded like a normal person on the streets. At this point, he was already on the main street, which was bustling with people. The surrounding restaurants and entertainment facilities were also booming with business. The Continental Elite Youth Soul Master Tournament had greatly boosted the economy of Radiant City. Over the past few months, almost all the businesses had been raking in profits. Chenin heaved a sigh of relief when as he mingled with the crowds. He had always been cautious, and thus was certain that he wasn't going to face any problems anymore. Every man for himself. Chenin revealed a cold smile on his face. As he walked, he thought to himself. By working with that mysterious evil soul master, I'm sure I can change my destiny. Since I'm going to do it, I must gain as many benefits as possible. As long as I'm stealthy, I can please both sides, and emerge as the biggest profiteer. As he thought of all this, his footsteps became quicker. After passing through the main street, he turned into a narrow alley and walked quickly. However, he wasn't aware that there was an invisible spiritual avatar observing all his actions less than 3 meters above his head. In places where there were fewer people, Chenin walked very quickly. He continuously cut through various streets and alleys to change his position. It also seemed as if he were going in circles. After walking for about 15 minutes, he reached a huge building. At this point, Hui Yuhao revealed a shocked look on his face. That was because this place was too familiar. It was the Sun Moon Imperial Soul Engineering Academy. Chenin didn't enter the Sun Moon Imperial Soul Engineering Academy. He followed a path at the side of the academy before entering an alley. This alley was behind the academy. There was another building here, which seemed like a residential property. However, Chenin was stopped by a soldier in full battle attire the moment he walked into this alley. Chenin retrieved a token before he was allowed to enter. Hui Yuhao had been in the Sun Moon Imperial Soul Engineering Academy for 2 years, but he hadn't known there was something like this behind the academy. After all, he had been more focused on soul tools then. Furthermore, the exchange students from Shrek Academy were normally watched very closely. Chenin heaved a sigh of relief as he walked into a wide courtyard. There was someone waiting for him there. How is it? Have you settled things over at the buyer's side? There was a middle-aged man waiting for Chenin. He had ordinary looks, but seemed very anxious now. It was obvious that he had been waiting for quite some time. Chenin nodded and replied, "Don't worry. Everything's settled. I even brought his deposit. Brother Lee, there must be nothing wrong with the goods. If we do this well, we won't have to worry about money for the rest of our lives. It's fine as long as the buyer is okay with everything. We've already started preparing over here. Don't worry, I'm one of the 6 in charge of the warehouse. In addition, I'm the main person in charge. I'm the vice supervisor. I've already started preparing since many years ago. It's very strict in the warehouse, but I have my methods. No one is better than me at creating fake rare metals. Others can't hide them in their storage-type soul tools, but I can. Where's the deposit? Also, please take a look at the list again. See whether it's right. As he spoke, he passed a list to Chen and took out a card and said, "There are 200,000 gold soul coins here. It's the deposit. The remainder will be paid when the goods are delivered." He received the list and looked it over. After that, he nodded and said, "The list is right. Quickly prepare the goods. I'll come here tomorrow night at this time to collect them. I'll also pass you the remaining 500,000 gold soul coins then." "All right. We'll follow your arrangement." The middle-aged man was excited as he put the card away. After that, he sent Chen out of the room. Hu Hao saw everything with his spiritual avatar and was speechless. Chen is too greedy. I gave him 500,000 gold soul coins as a deposit earlier, but he only offered 200,000 to the seller. Furthermore, the list that Hu Hao saw earlier was accurate. However, the price was only half. This meant that Chen was going to pocket half of the 1,400,000 gold soul coins involved in this deal. He was swindling both parties. However, Hu Hao had still managed to achieve his goal. This was the place he was looking for. After he stopped following Chen, Hu Hao's spiritual avatar slowly shadowed the middle-aged man, and he continued to investigate. Morning. The weather in Radiant City had finally took a turn for the better. The sun was shining brightly, and caused the city to become extremely dazzling. After a night of rest, everyone from the Tang sect had recovered. Only Shusansha was still healing under the care of Jiang Nan, as his injuries were slightly more serious. In the early morning, the Tang sect was already welcoming two guests, Shu Jojo and Wei Na, the two princesses. After seeing Bei Bei, Wei Na proceeded towards Shusanshi's room as Bei Bei led her. She used her snow lotus to treat his injury, which revealed the sincerity of the Heavenly Soul Empire. Shu Jojo mentioned that she wanted a private conversation with Hu Hao. Hu Hao smiled as he said to Shu Jojo, "Your Highness, eldest senior, is the one who decides matters in the Tang sect. You don't have to talk to me privately." Shu Jojo looked at him deeply and replied, "All right, time is tight. I'll get straight to the point. Currently, I have 3 titled Doluor and around 40 detectives with me in Radiant City. Along with my troops and 15 preparatory squad members, they form the entire strength that I have in Radiant City." Hu Hao listened to her seriously, but didn't make a sound. Shu Jojo continued. "When we first came to Radiant City, we didn't discover much. However, we realized that something was amiss after we reached the round-robin stage. We sent 3 waves of detectives back to the Empire to deliver news, but they all disappeared without a trace. Do you remember Grandma Yi Man? Her title is Starcloud, and she has a rank 93 cultivation. As the 3 waves of detectives disappeared, she personally returned to the Star Luo Empire. However, we lost news of her as well. We were alerted because of this. After this, we tried to investigate the matter, and discovered some clues. There seems to be a trap around Radiant City. It has become a situation where we can only enter, but not leave." After hearing her words, Hu Hao was also shocked. He had known that the Sun Moon Empire was going to do something, but he didn't expect them to be so daring. Radiant City was the largest city on the continent. It wasn't easy to seal the entire perimeter of a city like that. With Hu Hao's intelligence, he immediately discovered a serious problem. "Your Highness, do you mean that the Sun Moon Empire is trying to deal with all non-Sun Moon Empire teams in this tournament?" Hu Hao furrowed his brow when he said this. His doubts had been answered. The greatest problem for the Tang sect now was their overall abilities and lack of manpower. They couldn't investigate on such a large scale like the Star Luo Empire. Hu Hao also believed that Shu Jojo wasn't lying, and the situation was only going to become more serious. Shu Jojo nodded and said, "It's highly possible. In addition, they aren't just targeting us. They are also trying to deal with the secret forces that have followed us on our journey here. For example, there's the Star Luo Empire, the Body Sect and Shrek Academy. We are all the elites of the various empires. Our team members even more so. By capturing all of us, it'll be a huge blow to the various empires. Furthermore, it also means something else if they dare to do this." Hu Hao's eyes flashed with a cold look. "They are prepared for war, aren't they?" Shu Jojo took in a deep breath. "That's right." She seemed to be put in a spot, as she muttered those 2 words. What did it mean if the Sun-Moon Empire was prepared for war? It meant that they were going to invade the Heavenly Soul and Star Luo empires. It was going to be a big war. However, were the three empires of the continent prepared? Hui Yuhao took in a deep breath. He knew that at least the Tang sect wasn't prepared. Thank you, Your Highness, for delivering such valuable news to me. What are you going to do? After yesterday's negotiations, I believe you and Princess Wei Na have reached an agreement. Shu Jojo cursed in her heart. This sly fox. I've already said so much, but is not telling me his position. That's right, we've reached an agreement. If we want to break out, we must band together. Although there are only a few teams left, we are still considered quite familiar with one another. As long as Shrek Academy and the Tang sect, as well as both Wei Na's team and mine team up together, will become a force to reckon with. We've been investigating thoroughly. Radiant City is so huge, so it's very difficult to seal it completely. We should gather our strength and escape in a particular direction. However, there's another problem regarding the war. It seems like the Sun-Moon Empire is prepared, but we are not. That's why we need to try to earn more time for ourselves. We can't just directly leave. We need to deal a larger blow to the Sun-Moon Empire before we leave and slow them down. In this way, we'll have more time to prepare. Hui Yuhao was in awe. Her Highness's thought process is quite clear. Although she doesn't know the arrangements of the enemy, she knows what the critical thing is: stall our enemy. Yuhao, we've interacted several times, but I still am not familiar with your academy. Can you tell me what the strength of your academy is for this tournament? If your academy is willing to cooperate with us on this mission, it'll be much better. Hui Yuhao shook his head. Your Highness, we are representing the Tang sect this time. We are really unclear on the academy's arrangements. However, I can introduce you to our eldest senior sister in the inner courtyard of the academy. You can discuss the details with her. Shu Jojo seemed a little pensive. After a moment, she nodded and replied, sounds good. I'll need to trouble you then. Hui Yuhao smiled and thought to himself, sounds good. That's your purpose, isn't it? After this brief conversation, both parties left pleased. Hui Yuhao had obtained valuable information, while Shu Jojo also achieved her goal. At this point, the Tang sect's hall was getting more and more crowded. Wei Na had already done her best to heal Shu Sansha, and assured him that he could fight the Holy Ghost Church the next day. Zhong Lishuan also arrived with Wang Qiu'er. Zhong Lishuan was stunned when she saw princesses Wei Na and Jojo on the Tang sect side. Although she wasn't familiar with them, she had naturally been observing them. After all, they represented two different empires. And Wei Na also represented the body sect. The Tang sect's hall was now packed. There was Bei Bei, Hui Yuhao and Wang Donga from the Tang sect, Zhong Lishuan and Wang Qiu'er from Shrek Academy, and the two princesses. The seven of them represented four different parties. Wei Na and Shu Jojo looked at each other. Shu Jojo nodded her head gently. Zhong Lishuan smiled and said, it's really crowded in here. It's the semifinals tomorrow. Bei Bei, how are your preparations? Bei Bei replied, we've prepared everything that we need to. Tomorrow's fight will be very important. We'll do our best. Zhong Lishuan nodded slightly and pretended not to know the two princesses. She asked, these two are? Bei Bei rushed to introduce them to one another. After the three of them greeted one another, Shu Jojo seemed to turn a little anxious. She expressed her wish to converse in private with Zhong Lishuan. This time, Princess Wei Na also wanted to join in on the conversation. Zhong Lishuan didn't reject her request. The three of them borrowed one of the Tang sect's rooms and began to discuss matters with one another. The hall became much more quiet after they left. Only the three from the Tang sect and Wang Qiu'er remained. Bei Bei looked at Hui Yuhao and Wang Donga before he looked at Wang Qiu'er. He couldn't help but shake his head helplessly. He turned to Hui Yuhao and said, was Princess Jojo sincere earlier? Hui Yuhao nodded slightly. He recounted everything Shu Jojo had said to him earlier. He didn't withhold any information, because Wang Qiu'er was around. After all, this was a matter that concerned both Shrek Academy and the Tang sect. Moreover, he already thought of her as a trustworthy friend after their many ordeals together. After hearing Hui Yuhao's report, Bei Bei turned serious. Wang Donga laughed coldly. They are obviously trying to make use of us as messengers. Their real goal isn't to work with us, but with the academy. Whatever Wang Donga could tell, Hu Yuhao naturally could tell too. Bei Bei laughed and said, "This is normal. They have title Doluo following them, but we only have the few of us. No one will bother with us if things really escalate to a conflict between the truly strong individuals. However, they are not wrong to treat us as a part of the academy." Hu Yuhao could see a slight, but definite, and furious intent in Bei Bei's eyes. After knowing him for so long, Hu Yuhao was clearly aware that Bei Bei was actually a very proud person, even though he seemed to be very tough on the outside. The existence of the Tang sect was an important link between him and Tang Ya. How could he not have any reaction when they were being looked down upon? Hu Yuhao said, "It's actually good that they are not concerned about us. In this way, they'll become our cover when we do certain things." Bei Bei looked at him. Their gazes met, but they didn't say anything. Wang Chua, who had remained quiet all this time, suddenly stood up and said, "Elder's senior sister and I are here this time, because we want to inform all of you about what we've discovered. Whatever that Princess Jojo mentioned might not be everything that they've discovered. From what we know, Radiant City has indeed been sealed. The Sun Moon Empire deployed a few legions of Soul Engineers to mount a defensive line, with advanced ranked Soul Engineers to hold the fort. All the teams that left earlier must have been stopped by them. However, the weird thing is that they didn't seal all of Radiant City. They only sealed 3 sides, and left one side empty, the west side. It is the direction that we would take if we wanted to take the longest time to return to our academy." The information that Wang Chua provided was very important. To some extent, Shrek Academy and the Tang sect were together. She didn't conceal any information, and told Hu Yuhao everything. Hu Yuhao immediately retrieved a map of Radiant City. He had bought it when they first came to Radiant City for the exchange. He opened up the map to take a look at the surrounding geography of Radiant City. Radiant City was located in a good position. 3 of the sides that it faced were vast plains suitable for farming and training soldiers. It was only the west side that faced a mountain range, called, naturally enough, the Sun Moon Mountain Range. It wasn't considered too expansive, but it blocked the western flank of Radiant City. Although Radiant City wasn't surrounded by city walls, it wasn't too far-fetched to claim that it was constructed based on the mountain range. It was just that the other 3 sides of the city were too wide, and thus hardly anyone noticed the west side of the city when they came to Radiant City. Hu Yuhao furrowed his brow when he saw the map. Encircling 3 sides and leaving one side empty. In the art of war, this strategy is used to prevent enemies from fighting too desperately by deliberately leaving an opening for them. However, the Sun Moon Empire doesn't have to do this. Their goal should be to capture us all. Why would they leave an escape route for us? Furthermore, the geography of the mountain range is very complicated. It's ideal for hiding. Sealing the mountains will also be much more tedious than sealing the vast plains. Bei Bei was also looking at the map. He said, "In addition, this mountain range is very close to Radiant City. There can't be soul beasts residing in it. It should be an ordinary mountain range." The few of them started to become very doubtful. Wang Chua said, "We've thought of all that, too. From appearances, the most likely situation is because the Sun Moon Empire knows that the combination of our academy and the body sect will be too strong. That's why they've left us an escape route, but we'll have to make a detour in order to return. This will at least delay us. However, we don't know what they are trying to delay us for. After all, there are more than 10 titled Duluos between our academy, the body sect, and the Star Luo Empire. If the Sun Moon Empire wants to keep us here, they'll have to pay a huge price. It might not be something they can handle. Capturing the rest of the teams will also have dealt a huge blow to the 3 empires on the continent." Hu Yuhao suddenly shook his head and said, "No, no." His breathing had sped up as he said, "It can't be that simple. Think about it. Even if we have to make a detour to the west, how long will it delay us? Let's not even talk about title Doluor. Even for us, we can make up for the additional distance very quickly using our flying-type soul tools. If the Sun Moon Empire wants to do something, they can't possibly do so in those additional few hours. If they are successful, I don't think people like us can affect them." As he spoke until here, he seemed to have understood something. If we think of it from the Sun Moon Empire's perspective, what would we do if we wanted to deal with our competitors in this tournament? Would we only capture a few of the members from each team and release the stronger ones? Bei Bei shook his head and said, "I certainly wouldn't do so. I'd rather let the weaker ones go, but I would have to capture the stronger ones from Shrek Academy and the body sect. After all, neither our academy nor the body sect can turn out in full strength. This means that our strength is already scattered. While the fighting strength of 10 titled Doluor is very great, this is still the Sun Moon Empire, and they also have the help of the Holy Ghost Church. Along with their Class 9 Soul Engineers, they are strong enough to threaten us if they team up. Yu Hao is right. If they can keep us here, including the title Doluor, it'll be a true, critical blow to us. If I were the one leading such an operation, I'd do my best to ensure this happens. I would also try my best to capture all the title Doluor. As he finished speaking, Bei Bei stopped. His breathing had also quickened. As he looked into Hu Yu Hao's eyes, they could see one another's fear. Hu Yu Hao pointed to the Sun Moon mountain range on the map and said, "Then, let's make a bold guess. Not only is this mountain range not an escape route, but it might even be the path to death. They've intentionally left this path open for us, and are trying to make us think that they are leaving an escape route for us. Their aim is to draw us over. They are really scheming." Wang Chioa disagreed. "That's only what you think. We've sent people to check out the mountain range. There's nothing wrong with it. Although there are a few troops there to guard the region, they won't pose a threat to us. The two of you might be overreacting." Hu Yu Hao replied, "Perhaps. We can't check things out, and thus it might not be good for us to comment. However, our guess can be considered rational given the situation we are in. Chioa, who did the academy send here?" Wang Chioa replied, "There aren't many people from the academy, but they are the stronger ones. Elder Xian is here personally, along with another 4 elders from the Sea Gods Pavilion. Dean Xian Lin is also here. There are a total of 6 titled Doluor from our academy. Including Elder Xian, we have 4 transcendent Doluor." After hearing her words, Hu Yu Hao, Wang Donga and Bei Bei were all astonished. Although they knew that the academy would provide reinforcements, they hadn't expected the lineup to be so strong. Even Elder Xian was included, and there were 4 transcendent Doluor among the 6 titled Doluor. What did this mean? It meant that almost half the higher-ups of Shrek Academy were here. Only Dean Yang Xiaozhe was left in Shrek Academy to hold the fort. A warm feeling rose in their hearts. They were touched by the academy's regard for their safety. Wang Chioa followed by saying, "We posit that the Sun Moon Empire left us an escape route on the west side, because Elder Xian was there to personally check it. He even scanned the entire mountain range from the sky before he came to his conclusion. It's unlikely that your guess is right." Bei Bei nodded and said, "Perhaps we're worrying too much. If Elder Xian checked it himself, there shouldn't be any problems. With Elder Xian's abilities, how could there be something wrong if he couldn't detect anything?" Wang Donga also nodded slightly, agreeing with what he said. They trusted Elder Xian. Only Hu Yu Hao seemed to be thinking of something. However, he didn't say anything. Bei Bei said, "If that's the case, there should be more than 10 titled Doluor, given that there are 3 from the Star Luo Empire and at least 3 from the body sect. With such a strong lineup, I'm sure the Sun Moon Empire will be worried, since we are able to cause significant damage. In that case, it's possible that they left an escape route for us. Little Junior, what do you think?" Hu Yu Hao replied, "Perhaps. However, I don't know why I feel so uneasy. If there's an escape route for us, it shouldn't be like this. However, Elder Xian also checked it himself. Let's hope that everything's fine. Chioa, what does the academy think about sabotaging the Sun Moon Empire while we're here?" Wang Chioa shook her head. Her expression turned slightly gentler, and she said, "Elder Xian said that it's not important whether we sabotage Radiant City. The most important thing is for us to return. Tomorrow is the semifinals, and the final will be after that. No matter what we achieve, we must leave this city. This was what Elder Xian told us to tell all of you." Hu Yu Hao took in a deep breath, and his nose felt a little runny. "I don't have a family. Ever since I joined the academy, it has become my family." Wang Donga lifted her hands to clasp his shoulders. She knew that Hu Yu Hao was most emotional when it came to this. Bei Bei smiled and said, "Who says you have no family? Isn't the Tang sect your family? Since Elder Xian has already made arrangements, let's just follow it. As for sabotaging Radiant City, we don't have to do it since he doesn't want us to do so." Hu Yu Hao laughed, and they looked at each other. They didn't say a single word after this. After a while, Zhong Lishuan left the room with the two princesses. It was obvious that their discussion wasn't very pleasant. Xu Jiujiu wore a dismal look on her face. While Wei Na seemed very calm, the gentle look in her eyes had disappeared. After they exited the room, the two princesses immediately took their leave. Just like Bei Bei and Hui Yuhao thought, the two of them had no intention of dealing with them over this matter after they had established contact with Shrek Academy. This video will end here.